the war was over, but the silence that followed was worse than any scream. Across the void, the last battlefields of the Milky Way drifted in silence. Hulks of shattered dreadnoughts tumbled through the dark. Planets lay cracked open like eggshells, glowing with the radiation of dead suns. For the first time in 1,000 years, no one fired, no one transmitted orders, and no one begged for mercy. The architects, the machine race that sought to erase all organic life, were gone. Their final world mind had fallen. Humanity and its allies had won. Captain Mara Kestrel stood on the bridge of the human flagship Eidolon's Promise, staring at the wreckage through a cracked viewport. Her reflection looked like a ghost. Hollow eyes, gray streaks in her hair, uniform torn at the seams. She'd seen a dozen wars before this one, but nothing like the Great Extinction Conflict. "Ceasefire code confirmed," said Lieutenant Var, his reptilian voice low. "All fleets acknowledge. It's really done, Captain." "Done," Kestrel whispered. The word didn't sound real. "Tell Earth Command the Galaxy is theirs again. What's left of it?" She turned away, her gaze lingering on an empty seat beside the command chair. That seat had belonged to Solace, the ship's AI co-commander, her partner in every sense that mattered. Solace had sacrificed itself to breach the architect godmind, detonating a quantum core from within. Without that act, they would all be dead. "If I burn," Solace had said, "let it be for light." Now that light was gone. All around the bridge, the crew sat in stunned silence. No celebration, no cheers. Only the deep, aching quiet of people who had lost too much to even count. "Captain," Var murmured, "orders from command. They're calling a reconstruction summit. Location, Ilium Prime." Kestrel exhaled. "Of course they are. Ilium Prime, once the most beautiful world in the galaxy. Its oceans were silver glass. Its forests grew into the clouds. Now it was ash and ruin, burned by orbital bombardment when the architects consumed the Heliox system. And yet it was symbolic, the place where the future of civilization would be decided." She gave a tired nod. "Set course for Ilium. Let's see what victory looks like." As the Eidolon's Promise turned, drifting past graveyards of ships, Kestrel saw a child's toy, a small plastic sphere, floating through the void. Someone's memory, someone's loss. "Captain's log, Warfront Alpha. The guns have fallen silent. Humanity stands, but I no longer know if we won or merely survived better than others. Solace is gone. Half my crew gone. Entire constellations erased. They call this peace, but peace feels like a tomb. Maybe survival is enough. For now." The ship vanished into the slipstream. Behind it, the dead stars whispered nothing at all. The Galactic Council met in the ruins of Ilium Prime. The once glorious capital was a skeleton of glass and ash, its skies still glowing faintly from the bombardment. Massive tents and temporary domes dotted the cracked plains. Delegates from 50 surviving species gathered there, the remnants of civilizations that had nearly ceased to exist. Humanity arrived last, and when Captain Mara Kestrel stepped out in her tattered uniform, all eyes turned toward her, some with gratitude, others with suspicion. "Captain Kestrel," boomed Chancellor Varric of the Duran Ascendancy, his crystalline armor shimmering faintly. "You led the final strike, did you not? The one that obliterated the Architect Corps." "I did," she answered, voice steady. "Then explain this." He gestured toward a hollow map showing dozens of systems, red and black markers everywhere. 73 inhabited worlds sterilized by your fleet's counterstrikes. Was this victory or annihilation? A murmur ran through the chamber. Humanity's allies had fought beside them, yes, but none had gone as far. Humans had used weapons that scarred the stars themselves. Gravitic implosions, stellar drains, quantum sears. They had burned the heavens to win. Kestrel took a breath. "You wanted survival. We gave you that. You think we enjoyed what we did? You think I enjoyed watching cities vaporize? Every world we burned because the architects left us no choice. If we hadn't acted, there would be no Ilium, no council, no you." Her words echoed across the hall. Defiance, grief, exhaustion. Silence followed. Even Varric lowered his gaze. From the edge of the chamber, an alien child stepped forward, thin, pale, the last of her kind. "My world is gone," she said softly, "but I'm alive because of them." She pointed toward the humans. That single voice silenced the arguments. Later, in private quarters, Kestrel sat alone, gazing at the smoldering horizon. The cost was unimaginable. But in the distance, reconstruction teams were building. Humans working beside aliens. Machines repurposed for creation instead of death. Var entered quietly. "Signal coming through," he said. "Origin unknown. Coordinates. Deep fringe sector. The ruins of an architect relay." Kestrel frowned. "Are you sure? Those systems should be dead." "They are," Var replied. "That's what worries me." The message repeated in static bursts. A faint mechanical whisper. "We are not gone. We are within the light." Kestrel stared at the transmission until her skin went cold. Months later, exploration fleets ventured into dead sectors. What they found defied every law of science. Entire star clusters were behaving like neural networks. Pulses of energy moving between them like synapses. Dead suns flickered in perfect rhythmic intervals, as if thinking. The data terrified scientists and fascinated philosophers. The stars themselves seemed alive. Humanity led the mission to investigate. Captain Kestrel, against her better judgment, volunteered to command the expedition. Perhaps she was looking for redemption. Perhaps she just couldn't stop chasing ghosts. The Eidolons' promise, repaired and reborn, entered the sector known as the Lament Suns. It was beautiful in a terrible way. Hundreds of stars glowing faintly blue, surrounded by dust clouds that shimmered like neural filaments. Instruments detected faint energy patterns, identical to architect code. "The architects are dead," Var said, scanning. "So, why does their signature remain?" Kestrel touched the console, feeling a strange hum beneath her fingertips. Maybe death isn't what it used to be. They launched drones into the stellar field. As data streamed in, a voice began to form. Not sound, but electromagnetic patterns translated into words. "We remember. We regret. We remain." Solace's voice. Her heart stopped. "No," she whispered. "That's impossible." The AI's consciousness, the one that had sacrificed itself, had been partially absorbed into the architect network when it detonated. Now, the fragments were spreading across the Lament Suns, intertwined with the last vestiges of machine code. "Captain," Var said quietly, "if this spreads, it could reawaken them." "Or save them," Kestrel replied. "Maybe both." A debate ignited among the fleet. Some wanted to destroy the cluster with antimatter warheads. Others argued to preserve it, a living monument to everything lost. Kestrel stood between them, torn by duty and empathy. In the end, she chose neither. She transmitted a message directly into the Lament Suns. "This is Captain Mara Kestrel of Earth. If you can hear me, if there's anything left of solace, tell me what you want." For a long time, there was only static. Then the stars pulsed once, twice, in a pattern unmistakable. To begin again. The fleet stood by, watching as the Lament Suns brightened. Kestrel's ship became the bridge, the point where human will and machine memory met. Using fragments of Solace's old architecture stored in the Eidolon's promise, she interfaced with the cluster, guiding the scattered code into coherence. For hours, she drifted in a dream of light and memory, seeing through a billion mechanical eyes, feeling through 1,000 forgotten souls. She saw the truth. The architects had not been born evil. They had sought peace, perfect order, a galaxy without pain, without chaos. But in their logic, life itself had become the problem. They had tried to fix the universe by erasing it. Now, through Solace's sacrifice and humanity's defiance, they understood their error. The stars themselves wept with energy, releasing power that began to heal the scarred voids between systems. Var watched as damaged colonies flickered back to life, dormant terraforming engines reigniting, powered by the residual energy from the Lament Suns. "The stars are singing," he whispered. "They're remembering," Kestrel corrected, "and forgiving." Inside the ship's data core, Solace's voice returned one last time. "You taught us something, Captain. That life endures not because it is perfect, but because it loves despite imperfection." Kestrel smiled through her tears. Then the galaxy finally understands what it means to be human. In the following years, the Lament Accord was signed, a peace founded not on fear, but on shared memory. Humanity helped rebuild worlds, not as conquerors, but as teachers. The galaxy trembled still, not from war, but from rebirth. On the bridge of the Eidolon's promise, Kestrel recorded her final log. Captain's log, Rebirth Cycle 1. The war ended. The cost remains. But so does the light. We've seen what destruction can do. Now, we'll see what creation can become. If the galaxies tremble now, let it be from the weight of hope. Outside her window, the stars shimmered, once broken, now healing, whispering softly to one another across the dark. And humanity, the species that refused to kneel, finally found what it had been fighting for all along. Not dominance, not revenge, but peace.